Hey guys, Troll9002 here. I know it's been, I think, 3 weeks since I posted last. I am so sorry. There's been a lot of changes going on here. I've had a lot of freaking out to do about a lot of different stuff. Now that that's out of the way, I hope to continue to go on posting once a week like I usually do. It's actually still Sunday night, the 20th of September at 11:27 p.m. And I have a great story to tell you tonight, and it has to do with one of the adventures I had while I was on my vacation in Tennessee. Also, speaking of Tennessee, I would like to say thank you to Bone Daddy 2 and Odin Von Zero and Chris About T-Shirts and Mindy and Yankee in the South. Mostly Bone Daddy 2 because of all the subscribers that have recently come my way thanks to your vlog. I also want to thank everybody else for hanging with me. I really appreciate it. It was great. OVZ, dude, this story's about you. Anyway, I call it Sky's the Limits. It all started one day when I got news from a family member out west. They said they had struck it rich during the California gold rush, then fell on hard times. Fire took their homestead and everything they had spent their gold on. They needed help rebuilding. They couldn't offer much, but they had a place for me to stay and food we could all share. At the end of the telegraph, it said to come quickly that my cousin Estelle was not well. So I jumped into action. I have no horse or buggy, and I aim to get from southeastern part of the United States all the way over to the California coast, with nothing more than an alligator to ride. I was desperate to get out to my family that needed me. I thought long and hard, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. Then, out of the blue, I remembered the name of a strange, mad doctor named Dr. Von Zero. He lived in town and was said to be mad because his ideas were way ahead of anything people of the 1800s could fathom. Flying machines and new and more efficient ways to farm and make the load lighter on the farmers, but people just considered him strange, crazy man. Without a moment to spare, I ran to town on my alligator, as slow as my alligator went. To get me into town, I had not come up with a plan on how I was going to find the good doctor once I got there. I figured I'd wing it, and so pulling up into town, I started walking around asking folks if they had seen him, and just as I was about to give up, a shopkeeper threw a man out of his shop, telling him he was not welcome there anymore, and he would never sell him goods that would be wasted on stupid projects when the goods could be better used on something else. As the man landed at my feet on his back, I knew the face in an instant. "Sir, are you okay? I can't believe that guy did that. What happened?" All I wanted was a weather vane for my airship. The shopkeeper only had one left, and it was for his most prized customer, not me. After a few ugly words passed back and forth, well, this is what happened. He threw me out. As I helped him up, I said, "Are you Dr. Von Zero?" He said, "Thank you." I helped him up, and he said, "Why, yes, I am. And who are you, my dear?" "My name is Stacia, and I have been looking for you. I need some help, and maybe you can help me." "Well, my dear, maybe I can, but maybe I can't. Tell me what's on your mind." "Well, sir," and as I explained my situation, he listened intently, and when I was finished, he asked me a few questions and said, "Well, my dear, if you could go in and talk the shopkeeper into the weather vane, I might be able to help you, but you would have to agree to take part in a very dangerous experiment." "Anything to get to my family," I said, because family is everything. So I charged the store, and with my quick wit and charm, I got the weather vane the owner had stashed away in the back. And as I left the store, the owner noticed that I had given the weather vane to the good doctor. The shopkeeper ran outside in the street hollering, "Don't you ever come back here! I will never allow you in the store. You will never buy merchandise from me again. You little heathen! That man is the devil, and he is mad. He is a mad doctor. You will pay for your life. You will pay with this for your life for trusting that man." As I climbed back on my alligator to follow Dr. Von Zero back to his laboratory, I chuckled and wondered if that shop owner knew about his son selling goods to us rejects out behind the store after hours. You see, we didn't need the shopkeeper. His son took mighty good care of us. As we got closer to the doctor's laboratory, I see strange metal objects that reflect the sun, and steam-powered motors, and all kinds of activity going on. So much to take in. I couldn't get it all in one glimpse. I knew it was rude to stare, but it was all so very beautiful to me. From the giant gears that turned the water wheel to the steam that reflected off the bell of the gramophone. As we pull up, I tie my gator off so it doesn't wander away. I enter the home. It's very clean and well kept. I said, "Oh my, you and your wife have a lovely home." He said, "Thank you, but my wife passed on some time ago." "Oh dear, I'm terribly sorry." "It's okay. Now, young lady, do you think in that dress you can help me with some of my projects?" I said, "Sure, no problem. What do you need?" "Hand me that thingy there. I just have a few more tweaks to do, and we can be on our way before sunset." "Yes, sir. Anything you need, I can help with." "What is this contraption?" Not being able to see the full picture of the project, the good doctor explained the premise to me, and I just went with it. Later on in the afternoon we finished, and he asked me if I wanted to stay the night, as he had to start putting the air in the balloon part, and that would take all night to heat the air enough to be able to fly into the sky. I said, "Sure, I can stay outside with the alligator," and he said, "Oh no, my dear. I have a spare room you may utilize. Let me show you the way." I was embarrassed and felt like a burden already, but he assured me it was no trouble, and he was happy to help. And so, I made dinner out of the little bit of food he had in the house. After dinner we sat by the fire, and he told me about his wife, and her family, and his family, and he asked me about my family, and why the separation between us involved many states. As I explained, I got a little bit of an attitude, wondering why I was even wasting my time trying to get out to them, when they had shunned me the way they did. And then one thought of what Mom and Dad would do, and I remembered. As I retired to my room, I thanked the good doctor for everything from today, and for tomorrow, and for anything else I might have forgotten to say thank you for. I got a good night's sleep, and was up early in the morning to gather ingredients for breakfast. I started making biscuits, my mom's recipe, best in the South, you ask us. The good doctor awoke to the smell as he came out to the kitchen to investigate. He informed me that he had not had breakfast since his wife passed, which was about 9 years ago. I said, "Really? I usually sleep through breakfast." And as we sat peacefully eating, I heard the sound of a bell outside. And the good doctor's face perked up. "Aha! The balloon is ready. It is time to go, my dear. Are you ready?" "Yes, sir. Let's go." And we got up and started that way, and he said, "But first, I need a hat and some pants." I hadn't noticed, but he had no pants on, just the thermal sleep set that all men slept in this time of year. As I stepped outside to see the huge balloon, I was in awe, wondering so many things. Will this work? Will we crash? Are we going to die? Will it support us, or will we be too heavy? What if I fall out? You know, normal things you ask yourself before you ascend into the sky trying to be a bird without feathers or wings. And we climbed into the basket, detached the ropes, and set sail into the blue, cloudless sky. The sun was hot, barreling down on the basket of the balloon, but the cool, crisp air pockets that we kept hitting made it tolerable. It was going to take many days to get there, so there was a lot of gear in the basket with us. I arranged it so we could both sit without breaking anything. As luck would have it, the wind was blowing the right way, which helped the trip go faster. I was amazed by the views and most certainly happy with the company I had. This was one of the projects people said would never work, and it most certainly was working. We decided the fastest way to get there was to keep flying day and night. And you know, we hit more air roadkill during the day than we did at night. Also, at night the air was cooler, and we caught a couple of good nights when the moon was good and full. The air was crisp. The doctor would cuddle with me to help me stay warm. There were several beautiful moments for me that I had never experienced before, and I made it very clear that we could be nothing more than friends because I didn't know or understand how to be anything more. Finally, we passed the smoking charred remains of homesteads that had burned down from the fire. My family said they would put out some kind of marker for us to know where we were at the right place. You couldn't miss it. They hung out a giant pair of my grandfather's underwear with "Hi" written on it. I knew what to look for, but I thought they were messing with me when they told me that what the signal would be. I saw it, and so did Dr. Von Zero. It took about 20 minutes before we could see straight from laughing. Then I told him that was a sign. The good doctor jumped into action to turn the balloon around. "Hang on!" he hollered, and I did. "We are going to attempt a landing. Brace yourself." I hold on for dear life to the basket. I trusted the good doctor. The landing was not smooth, but it wasn't a crash landing either. But we landed fine, and right in the backyard of the homestead. As my family came running out of what was left of their once fancy house, I introduced the good doctor to my family, and especially my cousin, you see. The other reason the good doctor was mad is because when he lost his wife, it was because he couldn't cure her, and he went mad or had a breakdown trying to figure out the cure. So he was angry mad, but he had also gone mentally mad. But he still had been trained as a medical professional. So he tended to my cousin, and thank heavens she only had the flu. He spent a few days with me and the family, and I vowed to stay until the homestead was rebuilt. And then my family promised me a horse to ride home with. I begged the good doctor to take care of my gators while I was gone, and he agreed. As he took off, I remember feeling like I had lost a piece of me, but then I remembered our pact, that we could never be anything more than friends, but you're allowed to miss your friends, aren't you? And as the wind gusted, and he got higher and farther off, I kept waving, hoping that he wouldn't forget me, 'cause I'd never forget him. The next few months were very trying, but eventually we got the new homestead rebuilt, and my family took as good care of me as I took care of them. I often thought of the good doctor and hoped he was taking care of my gators and my small homestead, and that he was a well man himself. And as promised, we were finished, and they gave me a horse. I sent a telegram to the good doctor to let him know I was on my way, and I rode home. It was going to take a long, long time to get home, but I was ready for the ride, and I wanted to get home. I think I was about in the Texas area, I can't say for sure, when I was riding, and out of nowhere there were outlaws everywhere, and they surrounded me, and I was not afraid. I was prepared to let whatever was going to happen. Just as they pulled me off the horse, an airship, with a crazy man shooting a pea-shooter type gun, they all scattered. It was the good doctor. He had gotten worried about me, so he piled his wife and his children in the balloon and decided to go for adventure. Really, he was worried about his friend and came looking for me to make sure I was okay. Since the horse had run away, he offered me a ride home. I took it, and we made it from Texas over to Florida in a day or two, after I had ridden over a month to get where I was, and I expected a few more months to get home. I had so many questions for the good doctor, but first thing he wanted to know was how my family was. More to the point, my cousin. She was just fine, I reported happily, and he introduced me to his wife, son, and daughter. I was so happy for him, and around the town he was no longer known as the Mad Doctor, as many of his devices and inventions had gained popularity, and he was able to sell them to a lot of investors, and he was now a very well-to-do or well-off man. His wife was lovely, his children were beautiful, and I was honored to be his friend, and to see him not as the Mad Doctor, but as a good doctor. In fact, this is what he was known as around town now, the good doctor. And he did a fine job taking care of my pet alligators, and they were happy to see me once I got home. And once he dropped me off, him and the family were on to a place called Bermuda for a vacation. He told his wife that they were going the right way, even though he knew, and she knew, they were not going south, but they were going west. And so the balloon took off again. That was the last time I saw them. And as for me, I lived to be about 80 years old when I made a stagecoach ride to New York to board a boat that was said to be unsinkable. Boy, were they wrong. In 1912, 2 days before my 81st birthday, was when the Titanic would hit an iceberg and went down, taking not only my life, but many more, as you know the story. I always thought I'd live forever, but I swear, as I sunk below the surface for the last time, I saw that flying airship coming to pick me up again with the good doctor and his whole family with him. As I ascended into the light, I did see them again as we were at the pearly gates. Turns out, he had perished in what is now known as the Bermuda Triangle, and we caught up and all lived happily ever after in heaven. Eventually my gators joined me there, as well as the rest of my family. I hope you enjoyed my story. I know it's a little out there and I know it's a little long, but if you are new to my channel, you know my stories generally run long. And I'm not the greatest film tech in the world. This is the best I can do. This is Troll 9002, the good troll, signing off for the night. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on the next page turn. Again, thank you to everybody who hung out with me in Tennessee. And Bone Daddy, thank you for sending subscribers my way. If you like the story, please hit the like button if you feel like it. Leave a comment if you dare. I always respond. I really like reading them. Take care, and we'll see you on the next page turn.